Hi there. Today I'm going to be showing you this wonderful assessment tool called Socrative. Socrative is a cloud-based student response system that teachers can use in their classroom to quickly and effectively assess student knowledge and understanding. But more so than that, this is a wonderful tool to integrate into a classroom in order to implement the Universal Design for Learning, or UDL as I will call it throughout the remainder of this video. Socrative meets many of the UDL guidelines and is a fun way to keep students engaged while giving you instant feedback to student progress. So let's get started. So Socrative is first and foremost an assessment tool. The teacher, which is what I'm showing right now, sees the launch pad, while the student side of the site, which is right here, shows up only when the teacher launches an assessment. So the site provides multiple means of action and expression, one of the UDL guidelines, by being accessible on many different devices. The students can access it on a laptop, an iPad, a cell phone, basically meaning it's not necessary for a student to have a laptop, therefore not necessary for you to be in a one-to-one classroom in order for you to engage effectively with this program. It also means that students don't need a laptop to be engaged in the lesson. This physical action allows students to be more engaged. It also allows you as the teacher to be aware of what students are using their devices for. So when it comes to student engagement, the teacher can promote autonomy and interest in the site by allowing students to navigate quizzes in a manner that they choose. And so to do such a thing, you are going to start your quiz, and I'll pick the World Facts quiz. I'll click Next, and I'm going to click Open Navigation. And basically when you hover over the I, it tells you that students may answer the questions in any order and change answers before finishing, and you as the teacher can monitor the progress in a table of live results. This promotes their executive function in that it allows them to set their own pace. Using open navigation also allows students to answer the questions in whatever order they choose, which helps recruit interest in the quiz. So in order to promote persistence and effort in the classroom, let's go ahead and get out of that. The teacher can give a quiz in the form of something fun called the space race. So again, we'll set up the quiz, and let's do the World Facts quiz this time. We'll click Next. And in this way, you can see we get to choose how many teams. So as a teacher, let's say I've put together 3 separate teams, and I can either auto-assign based on the roster of students that are in my class, or I can let the students choose. If I let the students choose, what will show up on their end is they will, when I launch the quiz, is they'll type in all of their names. Otherwise, it'll auto-assign, and then the students can get into their groups. And then I can, of course, do fun things like choose whether it's a rocket race, a bear race, a bee race, save the bees, bicycle race, spaceship, or unicorn. So let's just, for the sake of it, stick with a rocket for now. And I can, of course, choose all of my settings, and then I can click Start. And as you can see, the space race has begun, and the students on their side are seeing, so let's say I am Rose Tyler. I will put in my name, and I will click Done. I'll select my team. I'm the magenta. I want to be on the magenta team because it was student choice. And boom, up comes my test. This allows students to work together as a community and to get answers correct and promote understanding together. The sense of community is one of the UDL guidelines, and it really helps students work together and reach out to students for that help instead of always relying on you as the teacher. In these quizzes, the questions can vary to any type, including, as you see here, there's multiple choice. I'm going to submit my answer. Oh, correct, yay. There's also true-false questions. So let's say false. Oh, it's incorrect. Okay. And then there's even the option for true or short answer question. So let's go ahead and finish this. And as a teacher, I can either view the chart, get reports, or I can just go back to launch if I'm ready. So with these questions, there can be pictures, as you saw with that quick little bit of Italy, and all of which allow multiple tools for construction and comprehension for the students. The teacher can further assess comprehension in the students by setting a quiz up at the teacher pace. So once again, I would go in, I will select my quiz, And this time I'm going to select teacher paste. And what this allows me to do is control the flow of questions and monitor responses as they happen. Basically what that means is we as a class can identify patterns, look for context clues, and activate background knowledge together before the individual students answer their questions. Using the quick fire questions section right down here, I can select as the teacher any 3 of these: multiple choice, true, false, or short answer. And I can help their comprehension further. Though in this case, I would have to create the question on another format, as the quick fire questions only allow me to see a true or false, or a multiple choice with no answer, or a short answer box where I can actually type the question. So using this, teachers could show students a video or a series of pictures before asking them questions that they could then respond to on the Socrative site. So let's go ahead and finish this, move back to our Launchpad. Unfortunately, Socrative is lacking in the fact that it is an assessment-only site, which means that it does not support student inquiry and the ability for students to do much more than answer the questions that you're posing to them. Pictures can be added to the site, but not audio or video, which limits the different types of media that students can use to supplement their learning or their language expression and symbols. This also affects their perception. And lastly, at this time, there is no option for students that speak different languages, which could be an issue for any ELL students you may have, because there's no way for them to see the questions in a separate language unless you provide it to them in a separate language. This means that most student learning of content must take place in another fashion. Teachers could supplement this teaching content through a Prezi or a PowerPoint, and then use the quickfire questions to answer quick little formative assessments that you want to make sure you're measuring student understanding as you're going along. But finally, when the lesson is finished, the teacher can use Socrative to teach students how to self-reflect and self-regulate through the use of the exit ticket. So I'll go ahead and click on the exit ticket. And there's 3 answers here. This asks students to explain, as you can see, kind of how well they understood today's material. They can reflect on what they did learn in today's class, and this is actually going to be a short answer question. And then finally, you as the teacher can pose an individual question that might mirror the lesson, or might answer the historical inquiry or the scientific inquiry of the day. Unfortunately, the only way for students to answer is through typing, which can make some students less comfortable than others. It may be beneficial to place these questions on the board and then allow students to answer in a way that they feel works for them, whether it be typing, drawing a picture on a sheet of paper, what have them. So we'll go ahead and back to launch. But that is Socrative, and I think I showed you today most of how the UDL guidelines can really be implemented in the use of this feature. I hope that what I gave you was informative, and I hope that you see that you would use this in your own classroom.